Here are some mistakes that I think filmmakers make when they're pitching to investors. I've raised over 200,000 on WeFunder, which is crowd equity investing for films that you can use, and highly recommend doing that as long as you're prepared. It takes a lot of work. But I've raised a lot of money and I've seen what can go right and what can go wrong and what I've done wrong. So I guess I'll start with that. I think always lead with the emotion of the story, why you believe in it, because at the end of the day, people get pulled in with emotion no matter what. So if they believe in you and they're investing in you, more than the film actually, they're investing in you. If they believe in you and the message and the emotion and what you're doing, that's huge. That's step one. Now, step two, and the most important part that a lot of filmmakers don't do, is they don't add any of the business plan. They don't add any of the marketing plan, the distribution plan. And you see this a lot. So they have their stories, fleshed out characters, tone, world, cinematography. They're super detailed in that. And then there's like a page about distribution and it's like, going to bring it to Sundance and get distribution, basically. That's not a plan. And I think that's really important to remember. Investors, they also want to know how they're getting their investment back, not just making this story you're passionate about. That's important, yes, that reels you in, but how are you going to make my money back? So having a very detailed marketing plan, a detailed distribution plan, more than preying on festivals, just like where you're going with it, what your plan is, what do you expect to do with it numbers wise, where is it a good fit? Everything should be in there. And then marketing, yeah, you should have a plan already, like a specific plan, not just people 18 to 35. That is not a marketing plan, that is not a demographic. It needs to be way more specific. You need to know way more who you're targeting and how. Are you going to use influencer marketing? How? What type of influencers? Are you going to use ads? Okay, who are you targeting? Well, who are you targeting in these ads? That's really important. You know what I mean? Organic. How many posts are you going to be doing? Are you planning to do 2 posts, 5 posts? Are you going to do a campaign over 5-6 months that's like 100, 200 posts? These are very big differences. And if I'm an investor, someone that comes to me with a very detailed plan, at least I know that they're considering, like taking into consideration the money I'm bringing and that they're trying to make it back. That's important. A lot of filmmakers, they make the mistake of making their movie and not worrying about that after because it's not their money. And the problem with that is that investor's not coming back to you because you didn't make them any money. And then not only that, it gets harder because your film didn't make any money. So now you go to the next investors and they're like, oh, how did your last movie do? And it didn't do well. So I think it's really important, not just for your own filmmaking career, which it is because you need it to do well so you have a career. It's easier to raise money again once you're successful, but also just doing the right thing with your investors as well. You want to make their money back. You need to put full effort into that. If you're going to put full effort into making your vision of the movie, you also need to put full effort into the marketing and distribution because that part's 50-50. 50% is the creative in my eyes and 50% is the business. They're pretty equal. So that's really important to remember. I think sometimes people do it as an afterthought. Even the budget, it's like a super afterthought. It needs to be focused on as a really big component of your film. So I think that is something that's to me the biggest mistake that filmmakers make with approaching investors, is not focusing enough on that. And then the other things that happen, I've seen a lot, is that they don't target the right investors. That's a huge one too. If you're targeting the wrong investors, then it's going to get very frustrating. So if you're making, let's say in our case, we're making this tennis series in the future, I'm going to target people on LinkedIn that have a background in tennis, and you can target that specifically. That makes sense because if they're already interested in tennis, they love tennis, I have a higher chance of them investing in the film. I'm not going to target anyone else. I'm not even going to bother with anyone else. I'm only going to go with people that have interest in tennis, have played tennis, whatever's in their bio, and I'm going to go after that. That's way better. At least I know there's interest already. So targeting the right investors, really important. And I think that's almost as important as how you pitch it. So who is really important and how you pitch it, incredibly important. And then the last thing is, of course, just having and you can get a lawyer for this, but having a simple, clear contract and how they get paid back, what the waterfall is, everything like that. So it's super clear and professional. All these things for an investor are important because if you're not professional in those, then they should be worried if they're going to get their money back. So yeah, hope that helps. These are some of the things that have helped me. And let me know what your experience is, and hope to see you next week. Thanks.